Okay, YouTube, we're back at the AI Day test route that we have, and this is attempt number 3, and we'll see how it does. Last video, the car actually tried to go through a red stoplight, so we'll see what happens on this attempt. Here we go. Getting back into the middle of the street here. We got pedestrians on the left. So I think the car will just stay to the left and not go into that red area where there's a white line around it. So that was great because this is actually where the car should be positioned to make this right turn from a legal perspective because of the paintings on the ground, the markings on the ground. Creeping forward for visibility to the left there, and we're good to go. And we've got this green light ahead of us. We'll see if we can make this light. I've got the offset set to the speed limit just to see what it does as default. When I'm driving with FSD normally, I actually am just keeping the offset at speed limit and then adjusting the speed manually given the certain road conditions. So that was fine. I mean, we went through the stoplight at 15. Probably as a human, I would have done a little bit faster, maybe 20. But so far, so good. So we got lots of traffic ahead of us. Oh, we got a biker there that it stopped for. So I'm putting on the speed limit because I'm putting on the accelerator because that biker looked like he was going to cross the street and then turned, and this car behind us is pretty frustrated. So I just gave it a little bit of accelerator. So they're probably giving me nasty looks. You know, I try to be as kind to the drivers around me. If the car is doing some weird stuff repeatedly, I will, you know, edge it on with the accelerator. For the most part, I'm going to try to just let it do what it does. In that case, the car came to a stop really, really quickly because we had that biker coming from the right, and he was going pretty fast, and at the last moment kind of did a hard left turn to, you know, go to the left of us, which is kind of an abnormal, you know, not really a safe maneuver by the biker there either. And so, you know, the car just was not sure what was going to happen with that biker. Were they not paying attention? Were they going to come out in front of us? They made that hard left turn, but we stopped really suddenly. And, you know, that's always a challenging situation because, you know, if the car was behind us was a little too close or not paying attention, they could have run into the back of our car. I'd have to go back and look at the footage to see how close they were. They were definitely trailing us. They stopped with enough time, obviously, but you know, that's one of those challenging scenarios where I think, you know, the car is obviously going to make that decision to stop, and worst case, you know, the car behind you runs into you. But this is a pretty dynamic environment. You're going to see that a lot. Lots of pedestrians, lots of bikers, and, you know, interesting intersections like we've got here, and just lots of interesting things on this route. So we got the downtown area here. Got a car making an illegal turn to park in a parking spot. Cars pulling out. There's a pedestrian walkway right here. I'd like to see the car go a little bit slower actually around here. It was going 23, so, you know, I'm paying attention for pedestrians there, but if, you know, that's a kind of a little bit of a blind pedestrian crossing there. Almost in, you know, I'd love for it to be able to see that we're in like a downtown area with all these angled parking spots. I'd love for it to actually be a little bit more conservative. And so that guy started to look like he was going to walk out and didn't. So, you know, you're going to have these scenarios. I think the car is much better at dealing with pedestrians in those kind of situations, but you just, you know, humans do some weird behaviors sometimes, and it's going to be super cautious. So it's our turn. We're going to put in the next destination real quick here. But what I was saying there is I'd love to see that the car notices that there's all, you know, we're in a downtown, it's 25 miles an hour, there's all these angled cars, And as a human, I'd probably be going below 25. You know, I'd be going more like 20 miles an hour, or even a little bit less in a situation where you've got like outdoor seating, it's a narrow street, you know, you got pedestrians. So yeah, I'd like to see that kind of behavior here. Now let's see what it does at this red light if it pulls up into the Rex. Well, now it turned green, and then it, you know, gave a red signal that there was a car in our way, but that was over to the left. So that was an erroneous kind of, you know, caution obstruction signal that we were gonna, you know, potentially collide with a vehicle, but it was way over to the left, so that was not good either. And we're coming up to this intersection here where in the last video, after going through this red light and turning to the right, the car was just gonna go right through a red light. So I gave a signal to this person with my hand to cross because she was looking uncertain. Now let's see what happens here. There's this turning traffic that I've seen the car behave a little bit weird with this turning traffic. And see, it's starting to go. Now I waited there because we weren't quite out in the roadway, but it started to go like it was gonna go in front of that Tahoe. And now we're stopping at this light. So this is just like a really dynamic intersection there again. We're going from a like 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. You got that kind of dedicated right turn lane. You've got, you know, traffic coming from the other side that's turning left. There's a left turn lane here, a straight lane. And I've seen the car do that where those left-hand turning cars, it's almost trying to edge out and decide to go, even though there's turning cars. As a human, I'd wait for all those turning cars to clear in front of me, you know, because we don't know if they're going to go into the left lane, if they're going to go into the straight lane. And then we ended up stopping at this light. This was the light of the previous video that the car was just going very fast and didn't look like it was going to stop, so I took over. Obviously, if you look at that video, love your feedback if you think I was being too conservative, but to me, it looked like driving. It was just going to go right through that previous red light. And then we've got a turn here onto a narrower residential street. And so I've seen it stop there. This time it was, every time we go through this, it does a little bit different behavior. So I don't know if it's learning from time to time. And if anybody knows in the comments, and I'm gonna put it in the next destination before I continue my thought there. If anybody knows, you know, I got the FSD beta 2023.12.10 right when it came out, and I came and did this test loop a number of times, and the first 5 or 10 times I did it, the drives were really not very good. Lots of interventions, lots of things going on. Now I've been doing the test loop a number of times, and it seems to be better at, especially like back there at that turn. It used to come to like almost a complete stop, and now I've been noticing in the last few times it's almost like it knows that situation better. So love your comments or thoughts about, you know, how it's improving locally here in the car without training data or builds. You know, does the local knowledge of the area improve the function of FSD? We'll have to see. If anybody knows that, knows more detail on that, please comment. But obviously we can test this over and over again and see if it's getting better on this route. Okay, so that was the most challenging, you know, crossing intersection there. Luckily we didn't have a lot of traffic, so we edged out to the stop line and then we just went across those 4 lanes of traffic. Erroneous turn signal here. We shouldn't be putting on the left turn signal. That's the first time I've seen that. So it's kind of amazing sometimes, you know, how the same exact route, same time of day, you know, I've been doing these drives, you know, over the past, like, let's call it 30 to 45 minutes. So it's the same kind of lighting conditions, similar lighting conditions, similar time of day. That was the first time it put on its turn signal there, the left turn signal erroneously. So definitely variability, you know, as you do every single drive. We got bikers in the street up here. Again, this is a pretty dynamic test route because there's just always lots of pedestrians, lots of things going on around these areas. Okay, I'm not going to put in the next route until we go around these bikers because I really want to pay attention to what's going on here. So we're going around them well, and I'll quickly put in our next destination before the car stops. And we're almost complete with this test loop. Handling that biker on the left there really well, even though they're on the other side of the street. Going illegally on the left-hand side there. Car positions itself really well here. Again, that's one of those things that when I was first doing this drive, it was positioning itself farther to the right on this exact turn. And now every time I've done it, the last, 5 to 8 times, it's positioned itself right here, which is the correct place. So we're waiting for cars. This biker is just sitting here. So now this car is letting the biker go. We can't go. There's a car coming from the other direction, so we've got to just wait. Okay, and we're deciding to go there because this car on the left let us go. So interesting, that car was even creeping. That Mercedes that had the right of way was creeping, but because we've been sitting there for a while, I think they said, okay, we'll let you go. And the car hesitantly started to do it, but once it saw that the car, it was in the way of the car and the car wasn't going to keep coming, we went ahead and went. So that was actually pretty good there. And I'm just gonna disengage and pull over to the curb because we're at the end here. So yeah, definitely leave comments and feedback. And I think I actually have time to do one more. So we're gonna go ahead and turn around and we'll do one more of this loop. And I'm gonna stop the video and make that a separate video, but you can join on to attempt number 4 if you want in the next video. Cheers.